This bill is not just about codifying Obergefell into federal statute, making sure that gay marriage, that people can get gay married in any state that they want. It goes beyond this. And you're a big part of that fight. Tell me why you think it's so important and what the threats this bill pose, or what the threats are that this bill poses to American freedom and liberty.
Look, a decade ago when I was president of Wyoming Catholic College, we rejected federal student loans and grants for one reason, and it was the advent of transgender ideology. And what we could see then 10 years ago was that this ideology would advance through American institutions to the point that those of us who have particular religious beliefs that don't include that, certainly love for any person, regardless of a cross that they may be bearing, but nonetheless, our faith is our faith, that in fact, one day we would get to the point where it would be impossible to be a person of faith and also acknowledge or agree with kind of the state religion. The point is, this bill would enshrine as a state religion things that are not true. We believe at the Heritage Foundation that a man is a man and a woman is a woman, and that people have the right to disagree with that. But most importantly, if you think about the thousands of years of tradition from which our country sprang, we also, as the first of our freedoms, have our religious liberty. I want to be really clear. There is no messaging around this bill. There's no way to put lipstick on this pig. This is not about being nice to one another. Americans are nice to one another. We're very tolerant people, perhaps the most tolerant in the world. This is completely focused on taking our rights away as people of faith.
Because and tell me exactly the mechanism of this, the language of the bill. How does it infringe upon people's religious freedom? How would it affect you? How would it affect me?
Yeah, whether someone is, say, working for a Christian school, or in my case, I lead a secular organization, but I happen to be a man of faith, leading just about everyone at Heritage, people of faith, that we would be forced to hire people to, even in public events, have people who would perhaps be very disruptive to what we're studying, to what we're covering in a particular event. My gravest concern actually is with churches. If we have, just to cite a couple of examples, a Baptist pastor in Minnesota who's talking about the truth of his faith. We have a Jewish rabbi in New York City talking about the truth of his faith. These are churches that would not be able to do that. And so the mechanism of the bill would disallow that from happening. I ran a Catholic school. I started a K through 12 Catholic school. It would have prevented us as a faithful Catholic school from adhering to our religious tenets. And so the lesson I learned from the courageous stance we took in Wyoming on this very issue was that Americans not of faith understand that if you take away religious liberty from those of us for whom it's important, you then as government can take away whatever you want. And I think that's a really important part of the messaging against this bill that more conservatives need to use.